Liz, go. Just go. Go. Go back to your trashy friends in San Diego and be a bartender for the rest of your life.
Okay. He's got a small There we go.
Oh. Are you a lesbian?
I have no physical attraction to any females, period. I am not attracted to anything but the fact that you don't even come to bed anymore. You don't give about me. You stay up to 5 a.m. You don't come to bed. You don't cuddle with me. You don't do anything. And you're so insecure over someone being attracted to me.
In recent news from the 90 Day Fiancé world, it appears that Liz Woods has not only moved on to a new partner, but has also made some striking revelations about her ex, Big Ed. All right, the moment has arrived to uncover the drama unfolding between Big Ed and Liz on the 90 Day Fiancé tell-all. We all know these episodes are chaotic, but this one takes it to a whole new level. Before we dive in, don't forget to hit that like button. Everyone from this season is sharing the same house, and we're about to see what happens when Liz shows up solo.
How are you? She's by herself.
So happy to see her coming by herself.
I know, she looks so happy.
I find it hilarious how everyone immediately reacts with relief. Like, oh my god, thank goodness she's here alone without that meatball. It's clear that nobody in this universe, apart from them, wants them together. Everyone else can see just how toxic and annoying Big Ed is.
Hi, you look so good. I know, I got rid of like 230 pounds.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. Plus, I think Liz is still doing Ed some favors. There's no way, man, 230. I mean, I know he's super short, but seriously, he's round. She definitely put his driver's license weight on there. You know, the one you totally fib about at the DMV because you're too embarrassed to admit your real weight. Not that I would know from personal experience or anything.
Like, amazing. You really needed this. I do believe he's a bad person. And he's ugly in and out.
Liz has barely been here 2 minutes, and everyone else is like, yeah, Ed's the absolute worst ugly inside and out, and we can't stand him. And Liz is just nodding along saying, yeah, I've heard that a lot. Trust me, we're broken up, so you don't need to keep reminding me. It's like the universe is determined to constantly remind her what a mistake it was to even consider dating this guy.
Like 6 months since I've seen him. I feel like I've been good like all day and like coming in.
We all know Liz is going to cave in immediately because he has this strange hold on her. He can completely break her down in an instant with just one of his ridiculous looks.
I'm very happy. Yeah. No more though. Final breakup.
You sure?
Yeah.
Everyone's like, are you sure? You guys break up like 30 times a season. You're just like those annoying high school couples that can't seem to call it quits, even though you obviously can't stand each other. But I don't know, something feels different this time. Maybe I'm just being overly hopeful, but I really believe this is their final breakup.
What the hell is going on in here?
Ed walks in wearing this ridiculous all-black outfit, looking like a burnt human meatball. Instantly, the energy in the room just vanishes. No one wants to be around this guy, and honestly, who could blame them?
Una amiga.
My bro.
Una amiga.
Yeah.
They immediately burst into tears, and Ed jumps straight into his manipulative antics. It's almost amusing how Liz attempts to stand her ground, telling him not to pull that crap, yet she's completely okay with him continuing his emotional games. She's bound to keep getting ensnared in his web of deceit, clueless as to why she's stuck in this mess. It's crazy how quickly he flips the switch to manipulation mode. They've been at this for almost 5 years now. At least it feels that way, though it might not actually be that long. Still, this guy has been given countless chances. Way more than any of us would get from our partners if we were this shady. Yet he keeps saying, I'll change, I promise. This time will be different. It's all so manipulative, honestly. Thankfully, another couple shows up and diverts the spotlight from these two, who presumably spend the rest of the night in tears, wrapped up in some awkward conversation. I can't fathom why Liz is still wasting her time on this fool. If you want to talk things out, do it on the stage. Speaking of which, the next day Angela arrives, revealing that she wasn't around because she had a massive fight with Michael. And guess who's there to comfort her? None other than Big Ed, the least likely shoulder to cry on in this show.
I swear that's my heart. I wish I never brought him here. He's making a
Big Ed is giving off major Violet Beauregard vibes from the original Willy Wonka movie, practically a human blueberry. Yet here he is, comforting Angela as if they're bonded by being outcasts. Everyone else can't stand them because of their irritating antics, but they seem to share a bizarre, deep connection. Why? Probably because they're both absolute disasters. Love you, baby. Hang in there.
I love you, baby.
Sorry to
You hang in there, baby.
I don't have no one to talk to.
Okay.
Ed says, as Angela laments not having anyone else to talk to. It's gross to see them bonding, but also hilarious to notice that no one else is with her. Everyone else is in the other room, chatting with Michael and eager to hear his side because they know Angela and Ed are nothing but trouble. These two might be the most toxic duo ever to appear on this show.
Ed and Liz, welcome back.
No, we did not sleep in the same room.
Liz quickly makes it clear that there was no heartfelt reconciliation between her and Ed.
We had our icebreaker last night. A lot more emotional than what I had expected it to.
It's been 6 months since their wedding was called off, and she's been living in California, far away from him, completely detached. Yet they still had that emotional reunion the night before. It's baffling. You'd think she'd be over this guy, especially with rumors about her having a new boyfriend who is apparently not as round or irritating as Big Ed.
I mean, I was a puddle of tears. Not seeing you or speaking to you for 6 months, I was a mess.
The scoop on the happily ever after tell-all just dropped, and get this, a plot twist. The entire cast is shacking up in a mansion when they're not filming the tell-all. But here's the kicker. I had no clue the tell-all wouldn't be on streaming platforms until all 5 parts were out. I was so frustrated, sitting there on Sunday evening like a fool, ready to watch and record it. I eventually found it on the TLC Go app. Seems like they're trying to funnel viewers there. Now, I'm questioning why I'm even paying for streaming services to watch the show. I got Discovery Plus because they used to air episodes early, but they stopped doing that. Now we have to wait 5 weeks to watch episodes on any streaming platform. It's ridiculous. Anyway, part 1 of the tell-all kicks off with the couples arriving at the mansion. First up, it's Patrick and Tace, followed by Gino and Jasmine, with Jasmine flaunting her beauty pageant sash.
She's wearing the stash, but sash.
This house they're in, it's gorgeous. I actually like the idea of seeing the cast members interact outside of the tell-all filming. You know, without Sean interrupting just when things start to get juicy. Either way, we're in for a long tell-all, so I'm willing to give this format a shot. Maybe it'll spice things up. Within just a few minutes of watching, you can already sense there are going to be a lot of awkward moments, especially as more cast members arrive. Like Liz, how nice was it to see her show up alone without Ed?
I got rid of like 230 pounds.
Yeah,
Girl, let me tell you, Liz is glowing. Like, for real, Ed must be doing wonders for her. But guess who shows up? The Humpty Dumpty who dumped her. It's been 6 months since they laid eyes on each other. I was crossing my fingers that Liz would just walk on by, act like he's invisible, like he's just some trash on the street. But no, they even hug. Liz wipes away his gross tears, too. After all these months, and considering how this canceled their wedding without a word, you'd think she wouldn't even glance his way. So, when I saw her being all nice to him, I made the same face as Jasmine, a look of pure disgust.
like hug him.
Okay, all right, good. I don't either.
Yeah.
She gave me a hug.
Just like every tell-all episode, and trust me, there have been plenty I always cross my fingers that someone will finally lay into Ed. I want Liz to feel backed up and defended, while Ed gets left feeling foolish. But usually I end up let down. There are always a few digs here and there, like when Andre calls him short or when old Jenny starts yelling at him, but it's never enough. I always crave more. So naturally, I got pretty bummed out when Liz was all nice to Ed on the first night.
You look great. I do miss you.
He doesn't deserve it at all. It felt like we were back to square one, and I started getting the vibe they might actually get back together. She even slips up and calls Ed baby by accident. It seems that even after all this time, Liz hasn't developed a strong dislike for Ed. I actually expected Ed to be more aloof, especially considering how cold he was when he called off the wedding and when Liz moved out. Ed seemed eager to move on quickly. In fact, a woman reached out to me claiming Ed had invited her to visit him, and she even had proof. She mentioned that Ed also tried to get her to come to the tell-all, but she declined. It seems like Ed is feeling emotional now because he's attempting to reconcile with Liz, as it appears no one else is interested in him, not even when he offered to fly women out to be on TV. So, Liz has become his fallback option. After everyone except Michael and Angela arrived at the mansion, we transitioned to the next day, marking the official start of the tell-all. Unfortunately, the TLC website kept glitching on me, forcing me to endure the commercials multiple times just to get past Gino whining about Jasmine yelling at him, as if we haven't seen enough of Gino and Jasmine already. Meanwhile, everyone is finishing up their preparations, and Michael shows up, though Angela is nowhere to be seen initially. The cast keeps commenting on how they want to hear Michael's side of the story, since he can finally speak for himself. But of course, the moment doesn't last long because the Crypt Keeper, as some call her, makes her entrance. I'm baffled by her presence on the screen, and refuse to show her leathery face. Angela starts bossing Michael around, telling him he can't join the other cast members. Thankfully, they interrupt her ranting to kick off the tell-all, announcing that Nicole and Mud won't be attending. They don't explain why, but those who've been following the show might have noticed their absence towards the season's end. Apparently, a few months back, Mud was arrested and charged with misdemeanor domestic violence after an incident with Nicole. There haven't been many details released about what happened. It's unclear whether the show decided not to invite them or if they chose not to attend. It's hard to believe they weren't invited, especially with Angela present. The tell-all begins with introductions, and Ed and Liz's segment is first. They delve into their breakup this season, and unsurprisingly, Ed starts spewing nonsense.
Back at church, I help usher on every Sunday. Having a relationship for me right now is probably the furthest thing from my mind.
I want to add some context to what Ed is saying. He's now portraying himself as a devout churchgoer, often mentioning in interviews his desire for a good Christian woman. Ed claims that during the 6-month period he was single after breaking up with Liz, he focused on self-improvement and wasn't interested in a relationship. However, a woman who reached out to me revealed some texts that suggest otherwise. She shared messages that clearly show Ed hasn't changed. He's still the same slimy, unpleasant person we've known all along. In fact, he even offered to fly her out for the tell-all episode, during the time he was supposedly working on himself. This whole narrative of being a reformed, church-going man is just a facade. He's not upset because he's making progress. He's upset because he couldn't find someone to accompany him to the tell-all. Ed's attempts at dating are just flopping. It's not that he's not trying, it's that nobody wants to be with him. They dive into the infamous taco pasta wedding cancellation, showing the cast everything how Ed canceled the wedding without even telling Liz. Now, the entire cast knows, everyone knows, and Ed can't play the victim card to weasel out of this mess. But oh, does he try. He comes unhinged, especially when Liz shares how she lost it in front of his family for the first time, with his sister witnessing the whole thing. It was mortifying for him. There's no excuse for canceling a wedding without informing Liz, yet all he does is blame her, projecting everything onto her. I can't change who you are. You did this, you have a temper, and so on. Just when the conversation starts heating up, Sean cuts in. This is what I'm talking about. Why interrupt when it's getting juicy? Sean jumps in to ask about the scene where Ed went to the bar. If you recall, he was supposed to meet Liz in person after canceling the wedding, but she didn't show up, saying it wasn't a healthy environment for that discussion. I was a bit curious about what she meant by that, but seriously, Sean, let the cast rip into Ed without breaking the momentum. Not even the allure of a free flight and a chance to be on TV could save Ed. The footage they show just keeps making him look worse, especially the scenes of him arguing with Liz's mom. Then they even bring out Liz's mom, which felt unnecessary at this point. She really doesn't need to say anything to Ed anymore. Although I did appreciate one thing she mentioned, but I'm absolutely loving the fact that Liz is finally standing up for herself. She's got support, and no one except Ed is blaming her for any of this. She's not just sitting there taking his nonsense and crying. She's pushing back and holding her ground. I was genuinely thrilled for her when they introduced her new boyfriend. Sure, we don't know much about him or their relationship, but one thing's for sure, he's not Ed, and that alone is a big plus in his favor. So it turns out Liz is now dating someone new after Ed. This wasn't a huge surprise for the audience, given the context. But hey, at least Liz got to flaunt her new boyfriend in front of Ed, and I'm genuinely glad she's moved on. Hopefully she stays miles away from Ed for good. We wrapped up the segment with Liz and her new guy, announcing they're planning to move in together, which left Ed looking a bit sheepish. Kudos to Liz for that. Ed tried to bring a date to the tell-all and likely invited several women, but Liz managed to steal the spotlight with her new beau. I'm pretty satisfied with how things turned out for Liz this time around, and I'm rooting for Ed to keep facing the heat throughout the tell-all. Next up, Jasmine and Gino. Honestly, I'm fed up with their repetitive drama and excessive details about their intimate life. What do you think? Share your thoughts in the comments. And if you think Jasmine has a flair for the dramatic, just wait until you hear what Angela has to say about Michael in the next video you won't want to miss.